Hello and welcome back to Idea Sex, where we take an analytical lens to mysticism and spirituality, usually. My name is Kiara, the Mad Witch from outer space, and that intro really doesn't help me with my case here, which is to talk to you about why I have come to believe that ghosts are real, okay? And let me preface with this. I didn't necessarily disbelieve in like the spirit world or spirits or any of that. But I certainly did not believe in this stuff, right? Like, I didn't necessarily believe in ghosts until one kicked down my door at a hotel room. FBI, open up! And I would have, guys, y'all, I would doubt that it even happened except for the fact that someone else was in the room with me. And I made a video about that because I was vlogging at the time, and I'll recap here. But suffice to say, I had this experience earlier this year, and I walked away from it thinking, yeah, maybe that was just weird and there's another explanation, but quite possibly there's an afterlife. And then I just had an experience recently, this time alone in my own home, that has 110% made a believer out of me. And on one hand, it was like very comforting because someone I love who had died came to visit. On the other hand, it was terrifying because someone I love who had died, who was dead, came to talk to me. Honestly, if this keeps happening, I don't know, like maybe the ghost stuff is just done now, but if this keeps happening, I feel like I'm gonna need to get my hands on a Poltergust 5000 from Luigi's Mansion. Wasn't that what the vacuum was called? The financial system is built on debt. Ooh. You're fundamentally unlovable. Pharmaceutical companies exist to keep people sick. There's a skeleton inside of you. Climate change isn't real. Ooh. You smell different when you're awake. Boo. Hey, what's up, bitch? You wanna play Uno? We rise up from the dust and clean my throat. So, like I said, until this year, I didn't necessarily believe or disbelieve in ghosts. It kind of like I could make an argument for or against it, right? I can make an argument for why keto is good for you. I can make an argument why keto is bad for you. I can make an argument that the world is actually run by satanic child trafficking space lizards. Yeah, boy. And I can make an argument that that's absolutely ridiculous. And so I'm very careful not to form an opinion until I feel like I have good reason to, until I have collected enough data, perhaps, to have an informed opinion. Like I said, until this year, I really did not believe or disbelieve in ghosts. I would say more on the non-believing side. I'd read about mediumship and stuff, but had never had the direct experience. And the direct experience of these things is usually what convinces people that they are real, right? Like we talk a lot about psychic experiments on this channel and what they might tell us about reality. And the truth is, even though a lot of them are statistically significant, it's not convincing to people. What convinces people is having a ghost kick down their door at 2 a.m. I do try to remain as objective as possible about these things because when we talk about clairvoyance or mediumship or remote viewing or telepathy or any of that stuff, it's already crazy and fringe, right? And I don't want to further discredit these things by being a completely unhinged loon. Not sure how I'm doing on that front, but I really do try to make sure that my head is screwed on as best it can be, and that when I do have these experiences, I remain objective about what I've experienced, what I have seen, and what I have foreseen. So this first experience in Shasta, I honestly would not have even, I would have questioned if it even happened had someone not been in the room with me, but I had gone on this retreat. And I was staying with a medicine woman that you'll sometimes see on my channel named Mally, and we were sharing a hotel room. It sounded like not like I meant it to, but you know what I mean. We were rooming together.
Nobody cares.
So we were rooming together and we're sort of in that, we had talked for a really long time and we're in that like cuspy area between waking and sleeping at like 2 a.m. And I'll link the full story there and what happens. Oh, it's this side, isn't it? I always forget. I'll link the full story there and what happens leading up to and following that event, but I'll just give the synopsis here, okay? Which is that at 2 a.m, this ghost thing, I don't know, opens the door. It like blows it open. And there's a woman standing there. And I'm like blind without my glasses, but I can make out the shape of this woman. I think she's in all white. Can't really tell because I'm blind and panicked. And I jump up out of the bed and I grab Mally's spear thing and I'm like ready to go fight a bitch. Because I was going to chase this person down the hallway, but Mally was like, no, don't leave me. And I turned back, like kind of laughing, but also terrified about like this woman that's going down the hall that just broke into our room. I don't know. And I turned around to talk to Mally, and the light on my side of the bed blew out and started smoking, which is apparently a sign of spirit activity. Oh my God, it's so wild. And like I said, if someone had not been there to experience it with me, I really would have questioned whether or not it is real. And I looked for other explanations. I called the front desk. I let them know what had happened. I was like, and it wasn't like an unlock lock door, like with a key. It was one of those key card ones, right? So you have to have that little electronic slidey key thing to get in or out of it. And I called the front desk and I was like, let them know what had happened. And I was like, is there a possibility that you had given out like another key by accident to our room? And they only had 2 keys and I had both of them. I had both of them on our nightstand. So it doesn't seem like that was a possibility. And those doors are heavy, right? Like they close. So I cannot think of another explanation for what happened. And then the next morning, the staff kindly informed us that the hotel was in fact haunted, and a couple of ghosts, it was George and I forget the girl's name, the one that came and visited us, but they had a rude habit of like making messes in the kitchen and kicking open doors and blowing out light bulbs. And so I was like, okay, maybe, just maybe there's the possibility of an afterlife. I really was like looking for any other possible explanation. And it's not like I mean, I almost think it would be sort of a relief to know that these things are real, but like, let's be honest, it's also a little bit disconcerting because it's so far from how we normally experience reality. So it was a very eye-opening yet disturbing experience for me. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Fast forward to, when was this? This was October. Yes, I think this was October. And I was working late. This time I was alone in my house back in Arizona. And it's a really good thing that there wasn't like a literal apparition this time like there was then, because when I'm in Arizona, I live in Cowboy City and I'm a goddamn cowboy. So my Smith & Wesson is always within reach, and had a ghost appeared, I know exactly what I would have done. I would have futilely fired at something, put holes in my walls, scared my neighbors, and probably been charged with lawful discharge. So really glad that no one visually appeared. But in a lot of ways, it was even more real than the first experience I had. So I was working late, and I work over there in my living room sometimes, and I had walked from my bathroom. I had gone to the bathroom and I had walked back to the living room. And as I was walking back into the room, I've got this big ceiling fan light up there, and it flickered. And I sort of felt this change in the room. And I was like, thought back to what happened at Shasta. And I just asked, I was like, if there's a spirit here, could you please confirm? And the light went out. And then it came back on. And I was overwhelmed with grief. It literally felt like a wave of grief breaking over me. And I just collapsed and started sobbing. And even as it was happening, like the robot Spock-like part of me was like, this is a very irrational reaction to what happened, Kiara. Like, you should be like afraid or making sense of like what's going on with your electricity, or literally anything other than grieving. So it made very little sense to me at the time. And that happened on a Monday. So shortly after, once I got through the grief that had enveloped me, I texted my friend who comes from a line of mediums, and I asked her, because once I got through the crying, I was like, should I be scared? Is it a good ghost? Is it a bad ghost? How would I even know? And so I messaged her to ask, I was like, how do you know if a ghost is good or bad? And she was like, well, what was the vibe like? And I didn't answer because I didn't know what to say. I was like, I didn't know how to tell her that my light had gone out, and I just started ugly crying. I was like, it felt like grief. So didn't respond because I didn't know what to say. Fast forward to that Friday. So that happens on a Monday. Fast forward to that Friday, and Sarah texts me again, and she's like, hey, just to let you know, I found out that Kate, our friend from high school, passed away. It also just so happened to be the day that they were apparently burying her. And so I reached out to another person from high school who was close to this person who had passed away to just confirm. And we started chatting about it, and I kind of went out on a limb and let her know what had happened with the weird ceiling light thing. And this was her response. I don't even know if you can see that, but it says, I thought I had a spirit in my house yesterday. It was 3 days ago from the time I sent this message. But when I asked for confirmation, my living room lights went out. Wish I would have said goodbye, but I had no idea who it was. And this girl wrote back, my ceiling fan turned itself on after I lit a candle for her. She's so here, blank, another person had the idea to organize a friend memorial for her sometime soon, so I'll keep you in the loop if I get any updates on that. And I said, yeah, apparently after-death communications, ADCs are very real. So that was the Friday. Okay, the next day, on the Saturday, I was driving to Flagstaff or Prescott? No, I was driving to Scottsdale. Yes, I was driving to Scottsdale. And had the radio on, and this song, Gooey by the Glass Animals, came on. And I immediately again started crying because it made me think of Kate. And I don't know why it made me think of Kate, because when we were friends in high school, I don't know anything about her taste in music other than she loved Grimes and Brooke Candy, which are both a far cry from the Glass Animals. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and her friend, someone who was close to her, posted a video of her. It was such a beautiful video too. It had like this soft focus around it and all these lights. And she was dancing through her bedroom singing Gooey by the Glass Animals and like dancing to this song. And I was like, you cannot be freaking serious. And you know, if you've lost someone, you may have had this experience too. If you have experienced an after-death communication, an ADC, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I think that it can be really comforting when we have lost someone to know that they go somewhere after. I think it's probably also comforting for us, right, to know that death isn't really an ending. It is a transition. And so if you have any stories, I would love to hear about them in the comments. And yeah, I would say even after these experiences, I don't know where that accent came from. I'm a little emotional. Okay. I would say even after these experiences, a part of me still wonders how this can be real, and a part of me is still like looking for other answers. I'm like, well, maybe it's just a bunch of coincidences. Maybe X, maybe Y, maybe Z. But the most logical conclusion, honestly, is that ghosts are real. So, in any case, what do you think? What do you believe? Do you believe in spirit communication? Do you believe in life after death? Tell me more in the comments. And this tees us up nicely for the next video, which is going to be on some of the scientific research behind mediumship. So, okay, we've talked a little bit about the direct experience. Now, how is something like mediumship, is something like spirit communication being studied in laboratories? Stay tuned for that. And in any case, thank you so much for joining me on Idea Sex today. Hail to the power in the sights. And until next time, I hope you stay very, very blessed. Pharmaceutical companies exist to keep people sick. The financial system is built on debt. Stop smiling. You're ruining your mustache. Okay.